I will never forget my 12th birthday, when my dad gifted me a stunning pink dress. Even though I thought the dress looked good on me, I was still waiting for everyone else to say it. So the next day, I woke up, wore my dress with matching flats, and went to the learning center. As I walked into the classroom, I was thinking about how my friends would be impressed of me with the dress. One of the girls told me that I looked like a Disney princess. I felt like a diva. And then, a few minutes later, the next girl, whom everybody knew as a fashion queen, approached me and said, "Oh my gosh, look at you. How much does this dress cost, by the way? I mean, you better not wear it tomorrow. The color of the dress, pink, it does not suit your skin." I felt like a loser. Imagine hearing those comments from the fashion queen of the learning center, who knows how to wear things properly, which means I don't know how to wear things properly. I felt embarrassed that I thought I was worthy to wear the dress. I started to see myself not worthy to wear the dress. Like, who wouldn't feel that way? Or another example that most of us are going to find relatable is that when we post something on social media, we wait. For what? For reactions, comments, likes. But what happens if you got only 2 likes, even though your story is expired or you didn't get as much reactions as you wanted? Many of us start thinking, maybe I'm not valuable enough, maybe people didn't like what I've shared. Well, who cares? You are not posting for their validation, right? Okay, back to the pink dress story of mine. So during the lesson, I was feeling like this. Please let me go home, please let me go home. I can't stand in this dress anymore, please. And when I got home, the first thing that I did was hide all of my pink clothes. Despite the fact it was my favorite color, I didn't wear any pink dress until I realized I had been letting them decide my words. Whatever they say is a fact, not an opinion. We live in a world full of opinions. They come at us from different people, strangers, social media, classmates, and even from the people we deeply care about. But sometimes, without realizing it, we start shaping our lives around those opinions. We shrink ourselves, we doubt our strengths, we start treating our words as something that needs to be approved, not something that already exists. But why do we do that? What if everything you've been taught about self-worth is wrong? Think about it. From the moment we grow up, society, friends, even family quietly teaches us rules about what makes someone enough. Praise, criticism, achievement, and we simply believe them. But today, I'm here to tell you a lot of those lessons are false. I'm gonna share 3 powerful false beliefs about self-worth and what can we do to reclaim it. So the number 1 false belief is, if someone criticizes me, it means I'm not enough. Let's be honest, we've all felt it. Someone says something harsh, maybe about your appearance, your lifestyle, or your choices, and then we start questioning ourselves. Am I really not enough? Just like I did in my pink dress story. But you need to hear this. Most criticism is a projection. People often judge others because it helps them cope with their own insecurities. When someone feels unsure about themselves, comparing or criticizing others can give them a temporary sense of confidence or control. Seeing others succeed can trigger their jealousy. Instead of dealing with those feelings, they may criticize others to feel less alone or more in control. Here is a real-life example for you. So, a few days ago, I watched a YouTube influencer share a story about a girl who left harsh and insulting comments on well-known celebrities' posts because she believed that their lifestyle and their appearance made them more valuable than she was. She admitted that she did it because she felt jealous and inadequate. Seeing celebrities praised for their looks and their lifestyle made her feel inferior, so she tried to drag them down to her level. It was a way of saying, if I don't feel good about myself, then you shouldn't either. This is why you shouldn't let criticism define you or your worth, because it says a lot about the person or their insecurities, their inner problems, not anything true about you. But the question is, why criticism hits hard? It hits hard because human brain is wired to treat familiarity as truth. So when you hear things like, you should be more, you're not enough, your brain doesn't ask whether those messages are true or accurate. It asks, have I heard them before? And what gets repeated becomes familiar. What becomes familiar starts to sound like truth. Apparently, those false beliefs begin with parents and other things, and repetition does the rest. But if repetition is how a false belief is built, then repetition is also how it can be unbuilt. Not with forced positivity, please, but with believable truth. Many of us try to fight negative thoughts with overly positive ones. We will be like, I'm perfect, I'm amazing. But if the brain doesn't believe it, it resists. If your daily experience includes mistakes, criticism, and negative thoughts, your brain accepts those overly positive affirmations as something I say but don't believe, not as truth. So catch and replace the thought, this criticism defines me, with the thought, this is just an opinion, not my reality, which is believable for our brain. This is how self-worth is rebuilt, not by pretending we are immune to judgment, but by teaching our brain to pause before turning it into a verdict. And repetition is also how our next false belief is built, which is, if people applaud me, I must be doing the right thing. If they don't, I'm failing. You know, I love sharing stories. That one happened months ago in the morning assembly. There was a competition between two groups of girls who had spent hours drawing posters about HIV awareness. The teacher told us that the winner would be chosen based on how loud we clapped. But right before the first group went up, the boy who was sitting next to me whispered to his friends, "Don't clap for them, I can't stand their leader." And when the first group showed their work, which was really amazing, barely anyone clapped. Just because someone decided that they didn't like the leader. And when the second group went up, everyone was clapping like crazy. It was almost exaggerated, especially the boys. They were clapping so loudly. Research in social psychology shows that applause is often a social cue, and it means people clap because others are clapping, not because they have deeply evaluated you. And this is called social contagion, and it means applause is often about a group behavior, not your actual value. Applause doesn't always measure worth. From the moment we grow up, approval is trained into us. Praise becomes proof, applause becomes a shortcut for worth, and just like criticism, this belief isn't born. It is repeated. So reclaiming self-worth doesn't mean rejecting praise. It means refusing to let repetition turn approval into identity. It means asking a deeper question. Would I still choose this even if no one clapped? Our next false belief is people's opinions about me are fully informed, so I must measure up. This is especially dangerous. We assume that just because someone has an opinion about us, it must be accurate. But the truth is simple. No one knows your full story. Every person carries a story made of chapters no one else has read. Some of those chapters are filled with joy, others with moments you are still learning from. But each page, every beautiful, messy part of it belongs to you. They see one moment, one grade, one version of you, and they think it's enough to judge who you are, but it's not. They didn't see the nights you pushed through doubt, what you had to overcome, and what you're still carrying, and how much effort it takes just to keep going. So their opinions are based on what is visible, not what is real. Your worth isn't decided by someone who hasn't read your chapters fully. And most importantly, you deserve to hold the pen that writes your identity. To reclaim self-worth, you need to become the voice you needed. What does it mean? So, there was a book I once read, Nice Girl Syndrome by Beverly Angel. While reading, something struck me deeply. It talked about how perfectionism often shows up when we feel pressured to be flawless, almost like we are supposed to function without errors, without being human. And people who grow up with perfectionistic parents tend to base their value on impossibly high standards. It makes sense because when you are constantly scolded and corrected for small mistakes you've made, you begin to expect that same level of perfection from yourself. This is where our inner voice comes from. The one that whispers, what if you mess up? What if you're not enough? Those thoughts don't appear out of nowhere. They are passed down, shaped by experiences, and repeated so often that they start sounding like truth. People who are highly perfectionistic tend to base their value on flaws they see in themselves and meeting impossibly high standards. When people tie their value to never making mistakes, they end up feeling like they are never enough, even when they are. When you accept that your worth is something you define, those what ifs begin to lose their power. You create a new voice, kinder, steadier, and more supportive. You become the friend who lifts people up instead of tearing them down. The person who listens, the friend who reminds others that labels and expectations don't define them. And that's the beginning of the real change, within you and around you. At the end of the day, no one else has lived your life. No one else has carried your struggles, your victories, or your heart. So no one else has a right to define your worth. Protect your peace, honor your journey, and remember, your story is still being written. Don't let anyone else hold the pen. Thank you.